All right, I'm going to call the meeting to order. It is now 7 p.m. and this is a regular meeting of the Kaneland Board of Education. We would like to inform all board meeting attendees that this meeting is being live streamed and archived for access at any time by our community members on the internet within 24 to 48 hours of the meeting's conclusion. And Mr. McCauley, pledge of allegiance, if you would please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the board secretary, Jeremy Orfel, is absent tonight. So I would like to make a motion to appoint Jackie Bogan as secretary pro tem.
So moved.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And the motion passes. And a roll call, please.
Mr. Mankivsky.
Here.
Mr. Kleisner.
Here.
Mr. Cook.
Here.
Dr. Lawler.
Here.
Mr. McCauley.
Here.
Mrs. Simmons. Here. Mr. Stalkop.
Here.
With 7 members present, we have a quorum. Let me show that quickly. I know, no, you got, no, I got you.
No tardy sweep for me.
No, no detention there. Quorum is, we have a quorum. Is there anything the board would like to move from consent to new business? Hearing none, I will entertain the motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
And a roll call, please.
Mr. Kleisner.
Aye.
Mrs. Simmons.
Aye.
Mr. Cook.
Aye.
Mr. McCauley.
Aye.
Dr. Lawler.
Aye.
Mr. Stalkop.
Aye.
And Mr. Mankivsky.
Aye. Motion carries 7-0. The agenda is approved. It is now time for board/superintendent salutes. I will turn it over to Dr. Rowling.
All right, well, fantastic. Last week was School Resource Officer Appreciation Week. And so we are going to be saluting our 2 SROs. They both do an amazing job of not just keeping our schools safe, but building relationships with students. They're not an add-on to the school community. They are a full part of the school community. We appreciate all that both of them do. Officer Taylor of the Sugar Grove Police Department serves here at Harder, and I'm going to ask Dr. Bogan to actually say a few words about Officer Taylor.
Yeah, so I've actually had the opportunity of knowing Officer Taylor and his family for quite some time. He has been such a wonderful addition to Kaneland Harder Middle School. He really exemplifies all of the attributes that we just hope to instill in our students here. He's super engaged and he just works so hard, not only to help promote a safe environment here at the middle school, but just really engaging with the students in such a positive way, and also our staff members. Every time I'm ever in these halls and Officer Taylor's here, I'm like, he's always smiling, he's always interacting with kids. Kids are always excited to see him, and we are very much looking forward to having him back here in the fall, full-time as our full-time SRO. So thank you for all that you do, Officer Taylor.
And then to introduce Officer Perkins, we have Ms. Cattell.
So this is Officer Perkins. Hi. As you can see, he does have a remarkably funny and great sense of humor. And from the moment he joined our staff, he has made more than just a presence in our building. He has become a trusted adult, mentor, and positive role model for our students. And I've seen that firsthand. I've seen him connect with our students in such an authentic way. And he truly has a great ability to make meaningful relationships, and students are comfortable with him, and they come up to him and they ask him things and talk with him, and we are just so lucky and blessed that Officer Perkins is with us, and his wife Jody, and they mean so much, and we have so much fun, even in all of our hard moments sometimes at the high school. I am so grateful. We are just so grateful for Mr. Officer Eric Perkins. Yay!
Also in our salutes, we want to take a moment to remember Officer Chris Ruhai, who served as the SRO at Kaneland before his unexpected passing 2 years ago on 2/14/24. So we'll observe a short moment of silence in memory of his service to and passion for the Kaneland community. And that is all the salutes I have for this evening.
Dr. Bogan,
None this evening.
members of the board?
I just want to say thank you to you both. I actually remember Officer Bricalis, who was our SRO at Bartlett High School. And I mean, he was really cool at the high school and built really good relationships with him. But I got to have some opportunities to spend some time with him after I graduated. He was there for my family through a tough time. I actually got to be there and support a program that he was doing within the community. So I'll always remember that relationship that I had with him. I know my daughter's, when she was in middle school and in high school, you know, just enjoying the presence of you guys around and, you know, not just being there in that authoritarian and the safety aspect, but being able to chop it up with the kids and build that relationship, understanding that, you know, law enforcement, they're there for safety, they're to protect the community, but you're also human beings too, right? You have families, your parents, your brothers, your sisters, you know, all that. You're human, and I think there is a little bit of a loss in that sometimes with everything that goes on in the media, social media, is that there's that human element that you guys get to bring into the schools, and I think it's just really, really important. So thank you both for your commitment.
On behalf of the board, thank you for all you do.
Yeah, very much. I mean, I mentioned it earlier, I got to it harder, and they come home and just speak accolades. And they're not two of the easiest people to please. So, you know, thank you very much.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, the board appreciates everyone in attendance this evening and invites you to stay as we move into the new business portion of the meeting. We understand that not everyone is able to stay for the entire meeting. We want to make sure you know that this is an open meeting, so you are able to come and go as you need. We look forward to seeing you at future meetings. Tonight's consent agenda that contains the following information. For action items,
That means you
You
should go.
guys,
That's fancy for, feel free to go if you'd like.
Go out to enjoy
Yeah.
no. Work on cues. All right. Consent agenda action items. Number 1, approval of accounts payable and payroll for February 2026. Number 2, approval of meeting minutes from February 9, 2026. 3, approval of personnel. 4, approval of the calendar for the 2027-2028 on second reading. And the informational items. Student suspension data report and the Freedom of Information Act report. I will now entertain a motion to approve the consent items listed.
So moved. Second.
And a roll call, please.
Ms. Simmons.
Aye.
Mr. Cook.
Aye.
Mr. McCauley.
Aye.
Dr. Lawler.
Aye.
Mr. Stalcup.
Aye.
Mr. Mankivsky.
Aye.
Mr. Kleisner.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. The consent agenda is approved. We move to public comments. We use the public comment section as an opportunity to listen to our stakeholders. The board does not debate or engage in conversation during this time. I'd like to remind everyone to state your name and village of residence for the record. Please limit your comments to 30 minutes or less.
3 minutes.
I'm sorry. Question. Thank you. Where'd that zero come from? Public comment is a maximum of 30, there it is, 30 minutes with 20-minute total length of time for any one subject. Those who speak are asked to maintain the tone of courtesy and civility. And the first person I have is Catherine Soderstrom.
Good evening. My name is Catherine Soderstrom. I'm an Elburn resident. I'm here tonight to speak on an email received from District Admin on February 11th, 2026, regarding the decision to end the KIPLA program at the elementary level. As a parent, I'm frustrated to be here for the third year in a row advocating for clarity, communication, and planning regarding the KIPLA program in this district. This email was only sent to current and prospective KIPLA Inspire parents, even though the decision impacts families in the entire program. In response to the email, I inquired if the email was generated program-wide and if admin would be present at the middle school open houses later that evening to address concerns and questions from parents of incoming sixth graders. And the district response was, no, it doesn't impact those programs. It does. It does because the elementary program is a feeder into the middle school section of this program, and future enrollment numbers will be impacted by this decision, leading to the very risk of the demise of the middle school program over the next several years. Currently, the district is only committing to the 2026-2027 fiscal year for the Empower program, and after that, will continue to make decisions based on enrollment, leading to additional yearly uncertainty for those students and parents in this program. What is the plan? We have been asking this as parents ever since this program was created. It is part of the strategic plan for the last 5 years. There should be zero excuses as to why something like that hasn't been presented by admin over the last 5, 6, 7 years at this point. I'd like to remind the district that you have an educational and an ethical obligation to currently enrolled students and families to ensure their educational needs will be met, regardless of where they're enrolled. I'm encouraging the board to ask questions, review program data for the KIPLA program, and have the district admin develop and present a plan as to how this decision will impact the next 3 years. I also am encouraging a 3-year commitment to this KIPLA program for the next 3 years at the middle school level to let the original enrollees, including my daughter, who started in 3rd grade at this program and will move to middle school this year as a 6th grader, to finish out the program as it was intended when it was created as part of the strategic plan. Thank you. As a side note, my daughter is here to also make a comment. I'd like to let you all know that she wrote her own comment tonight. So she will be going next.
Thank you. Next, Amelia Soderstrom.
Thank you. My name is Amelia Soderstrom. I'm a resident of Elburn and in 5th grade at KIPLA at John Shields Elementary. My experience at KIPLA in the past is different than what I'm experiencing now. I'm going to talk about it today. I don't like that you are closing the program and others feel the same way. In Empower, we won't have enough students to sign up if KIPLA at the elementary level ends, which will lead us to end KIPLA at the middle school level. KIPLA is the best learning environment for me because I learn at my own pace without being pushed ahead or held back with the rest of the class. I meet new people and work with partners and have hands-on learning experiences. From participating in KIPLA, I have From participating in KIPLA, I have learned how to work with people who are different than me. I have teachers who collaborate and give me the learning I need to be successful, and I understand my ELA and math continuum paths. Recently, I went to the KMAC building for my brother's Cub Scout Pinewood Derby, and I felt sad when I saw the empty rooms and library because it was way different from when the KIPLA program was there. I wondered why you guys would rip apart KIPLA by splitting the program into different schools and now ending the Inspire program. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you want to submit your written comments and have that part of, it's up to you.
Can we make a photocopy of it?
Sure, I mean, yeah, sometimes people,
Yeah, I
you
don't,
know,
she can
want
send-
to.
Can I just get a copy of it?
Yeah, by all means, it's not
Thank you.
that you have to, but when you have an opinion, it gives
We'll
you a
do it right
chance
now.
to make it on the record.
Sounds good.
Okay?
After is fine too.
Okay.
We get that.
All right. It is now time. Right, it is now time to hear an update from our committee meetings that met this evening. The Finance and Facility.
We had a short meeting, and it was really just a summary of kind of the awards that are recommendations for the trade awards that we have later in the agenda. We discussed the abatement recommendation a little bit, talked about the budget, and our revenues are a little bit different than last year. Based on last year we got ESSER money, this year we don't. And there was one payment that was received this year for last year.
Correct.
So that was primarily, and then we talked about the playground resurfacing and what that'll be coming to the board next month.
Community engagement.
We're continuing the work for the honorary alumni program. As I mentioned last month, that's, we're working on names, so every month we're kind of building on the next step of what this program is going to look like. For tonight, it was talking about what does nomination look like and selection structure. So, and then each month following, we'll just keep adding on to that until we have the whole program kind of figured out.
All right. On to new business. The first item of new business is the financial projection presentation. Dr. Bogan, if you would please provide more information.
Yes, if I could get that presentation up. Thank you. Tonight you all have copies of this. I will put it up on the screen as well, but you do have copies of the presentation. Tonight we're going to go over the 5-year financial projections. So it'll be for fiscal years 26 through 2031. Just so everyone knows, we do continue to use Forecast 5. It's a modeling tool that we use. So this year, the Finance and Facility Committee has seen that we've also been using it to present monthly financial statements. So those are also posted online. But it really does help us not only in consolidating, putting all the information into one spot, but also how we use just data-informed decision-making when we talk about this. So before we get into numbers, I just want to sort of like ground us, like, okay, why are we using this? This isn't like a prediction tool, right? This software is only as good as the information that we put into it. So you may remember, you may not remember, but back in November, we had a fairly lengthy conversation about what are the assumptions that we were going to use for this. And so I do just kind of want to go over, we're going to talk about just some revenue trends tonight, expenditure planning, any budget planning, efficiency efforts that we've been doing, that we have done, and then also what long-term financial stability looks like. We really are going to focus in on operating funds, so the ed fund, operations and maintenance, transportation, and then working cash for our conversation tonight. So just to kind of start off where we are today, our current operating fund revenue budget is approximately $77.7 million. As you can see from this, our district, and I know I talk about this in the levy, I'll talk about it tonight, I'm going to say it again when I do the budget presentation, but we are heavily dependent on our local property taxes. 70% 76% of our operating revenue comes from local property taxes. That's why we talk about this so often. About 15% comes from various state funds, and then about 2% of our total budget comes from federal funds. Just knowing the revenue mix is truly important for this district, because that means that we do lean into CPI, or the Consumer Price Index, and then we're always watching very closely what EAV, or that Equalized Assessed Value, is, because they play so heavily into what we're doing. Currently, just to kind of run through projections and the assumptions that we use, just for some consistency. Currently, CPI is at 2.9%, so we're using that for this year, and then the remaining years we're projecting out at 3%, so very conservative there. New construction, we used an assumption of projecting at 12 million annually. That is substantially lower than what we saw the last 2 years. We're coming off a year of 22 million in new AV, and then the one prior was 18 million. So just know that this is a very conservative assumption that we're using, an estimate. Every year that we present budget, we get closer to actual. And so next year, when we present the same information, you might see this number continue to go higher. That's what we've traditionally done over the last couple of years. It started off at 9 million. We've been trying to get it closer. We do keep it conservative, right? Just with any of our revenues, we're always going to underestimate our revenues and overestimate slightly our expenditures. The goal is to sort of shrink that gap so we can get to a place that's really accurate. Corporate personal property replacement taxes, we have at $400,000 per year per assumptions. This is an area that the district has seen dollars go down. At one point, CPPRT was almost double this, but we have seen that number significantly decrease over the last couple of years. So again, this is a conservative estimate. I do think it's fairly close. This year we got just over $426,000 in CPPRT, so close there. And then for state funding and federal funding, it's flat to what we've used for the past several years at 11.5 and 1.8 million, and that really is on track to what actuals are and what we anticipate. So these are intentionally cautious. These are not best case scenarios. On the other side, this is just kind of how we've talked, heavily dependent on CPI. The 5-year average for CPI is currently 3.54%, and the 10-year average is lower at 6.8%. The reason our 5-year average is still sort of high, right, higher than what it currently is because we still have those 2 years where it was like super high, right, a 7 and a 6.5%, where the district was capped because of PTEL at 5. So that is dragging that up. Again, historically, as you can see here, this is EAV just from new growth. And so historically, we've averaged just about 13.5 million annually. Again, modeling is conservative at 12%. Again, you're not going to see aggressive growth in the model, but when we get to actuals to budget, you may see that. For every 1% change in CPI, that means either plus or minus approximately $600,000, right? So if we're really off in our estimates for CPI, that's going to be the swing. For every 1 million in new construction, so say if we're really off, right? If we only get 11 million instead of the 12 million that we have in projections, that only equates to $43,000 in revenue for the district. So much less of an impact, but still an impact there. Expenditures, just want to talk about that. Our operating expenditure budget is currently 77.9 million, so still running at currently a little bit of a deficit, but much better than where we were this time last year, right? This time last year, we were sitting at 4.2 million. So we've really worked hard to close that gap. The biggest driver still is going to be salaries and benefits. Salaries make up 57%, benefits make up 17% of the total budget. And that's, pretty typical of every school district across Illinois, right? We are in the people business. That's where most of the money is. As far as assumptions go for expenditures, we do have all of our known actuals in here based on our current contract. So in the assumptions, we are using all of our current contract amounts in here. For health insurance, I did get aggressive in what we thought we were going to spend. I've got 4% for this year and then 5% annually after that. Typically, we've used anywhere from 5 to 6%, and we actually, for quite a few years, we undershot that. So our plan is running very well. I know I spoke a little bit about that, but our plan is running really well. I actually think that we'll be under that 4% this year, so that would be a really good thing for the district. We've got $500,000 in for annual bus replacements in all years, and then we also have for capital projects, I've got $1.2 million this year, and then important to note, I put $2 million in for all remaining years. That's also aggressive. That would be an area where we would have some room to look at. For the technology budget, we have $800,000 in annually, and then in the curriculum budget, we have $1 million annually. So again, those are higher numbers than we've typically used in the past. Those are aggressive expenditures, but there's also just a little bit of room there if we needed to make some difficult decisions in all of those areas. So overall, we are projecting about 3% revenue growth annually, and a little bit higher, turning a little bit higher than that in expenditures. But again, not that this is a worst case scenario. I don't necessarily want to use that, but this is not the best case scenario. This is not where we think we're actually gonna end up. This is sort of using as a guide if, we only see 3% in growth and we know we've got higher costs in areas, it can help drive some of the decisions that we make. So this is really small, this chart, but as you can see in this, revenues grow over time from 77.7 to about 91.1 million. Expenditures, however, grow from 77.9 to about 92 million. So at the end of this, we do see a deficit of about $900,000. Again, as you look at FY27, we are very close to a structural balance. That's the goal. Each year that we go out farther, it's harder to sort of maintain that because there's so many unknown factors. We still are operating at a deficit, but again, this is not a crisis. This is a trend that we want to monitor, and each year that we revisit this closely.
Dr. Wilden, sorry, can you remind me how much you got this on this chart?
Yep.
Is that 600,000 captured within the 876,000?
Yes.
Okay, so it's rolling each year.
Yes, it gets rolled each year. That's correct. And that's the thing. It's cumulative, right? And so, yeah, it rolls forward. So, really, each year we're chipping away, just not as fast as we could be.
Yes. Dr. Bogan.
Yep.
So is the district's goal these numbers, or do you expect there, because you can't project that far up, that it'll actually be closer to being in the black?
The goal is to have it closer in the black.
Okay.
We use the projections really to look at it okay, based on all the assumptions that we're currently using, this is where we think it would be. But as we see what actual revenue is each year that we get closer, that's how we're able to use this as essentially a tool to guide that decision making, so that I don't come back and say, okay, if all this is true, I'm not going to come back and present a deficit to you, right? There would be some adjustments made along the way. Maybe it's, okay, instead of, like we did last year, instead of spending $500,000 in one-year-old buses, this year we're going to spend $250,000, making those adjustments as we need to. You know, a lot of it too is even like, okay, what's the impact if health insurance renewal comes back at 3%? Well, we've gained some there.
And what is your, as the head, what is your preferred or comfortable amount of days cash on hand?
Well, I'd like to be at least 45 days cash on hand, because that's what our fund balance policy currently says. But ideally, we'd be in a position where we are slowly growing our fund balance over time. We're not going to, you know, there's no expectation that I have that we would be able to grow our fund balance by, you know, $1 million every year. But if we could grow it incrementally over the next 5 years, that would be a better place. You know, eventually, I think once we get there, the idea is that we do up our fund balance policy to give us, you know, a little bit of that cushion, a little bit of that, you know, hopefully we won't be there for many years, but the boiler breaks or something major, catastrophic or unexpected were to happen, that we have a little bit. I think it also allows you to do a lot of other things, you know, within your budget. So,
All right, thank you.
you're welcome. So you can see on these projections, operating fund balance, we do see going from about 4.8 million down to 1.7 million by FY31. But I do want to note, it's still positive. Last year when we presented this, by the end of this, we had a negative fund balance overall. And so I think that is an important distinction. Right now, we go from about 22 days to 7 days cash on hand. Again, I don't want to say worst case scenario, but this is a very conservative estimate. I think what it really signals is just the short-term decisions are critical, but so is that long-term planning. And so, you know, I think over the last year, you've seen that for me. I think you'll continue to see a mix of that in what we present. But this work here, it really directly feeds into the next step of the budget planning. And that really is developing the budget for the 26-27 school year. And so as we go throughout this process, by the time we get to June, you will see a very closely aligned budget to being in the black. That's the goal for this, and I think that we're on track to present that. So we're getting close. We are definitely in a stable position, and I think we're getting closer to that structural balance that we want to see.
Dr. Bogan, and folks playing at home,
Yep.
Can you maybe just really quick recap what maybe we're doing a little different and what environmental things might be a little bit different so that we're closer to being in the black than we were the last time?
Yeah, so not that I mean, we did make adjustments to staffing last year. We did have to make some significant cuts. We made significant cuts in our operating budget, in our transportation budget. We also asked, you know, buildings to reduce some of their supply expenditures, things like that. Those were things that we cut out, right? There were also things that I think we tried to implement, right? Whether it was through some of the purchasing, looking into grant opportunities, which is still ongoing, but there's always this like, okay, we know that, you know, we only have so many funds, and so it's twofold, right? We have to look at ways to be, what's the right word? Creative, or we have to be, I don't want to say responsible, but we have to really make decisions on like where we're going to put those limited resources, and at the same time we also have to look for ways, how do we increase the resources that are coming into the district. And so those are really just very broadly some of the two things that we focused on over the last year and will continue to focus on as we move forward through the budget process. So
Other environmental like changes that we're seeing that maybe, you know, we saw huge increases in costs and stuff. Are we seeing some of that stuff more flatline now?
So there's a couple areas where we do continue to see costs increase. I think the tech world is one where, you know, you saw that in the last presentation, just the price of Chromebooks has increased. That's an area where across the board we're seeing significant increases. Energy costs, especially with natural gas, recently have spiked. However, we're a little bit insulated from some of that because we did last year put in place the energy purchasing agreement, things like that. So there definitely is market volatility in a lot of those areas that we can't control, but I think, you know, we're working towards, okay, well, knowing that we can't control these things, what measures, what programs can we put in place that will positively impact us, not only in the short term, but also sort of insulate us from some of that long-term volatility that we see. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
In the projections, you have utilities projected for the field house and the 2 new buildings we have in these.
Correct. Any other questions?
Any other questions? Comments? All right, thank you, Dr. Bogan. There's no action necessary for the financial projections presentation. The second item of new business is the approval of asbestos abatement. Dr. Bogan, once again, if you'd please provide us with more information.
Yes. So tonight you have a memo. It's an overview of the asbestos abatement for Kaneland High School. It's adjacent to the work that's happening through the referendum this summer. So this is definitely a very typical step that happens anytime that you're doing construction, anytime you're doing major renovation projects, especially when you're involving an older facility such as Kaneland High School. And so this process is required to ensure safety, regulatory compliance, and then also just to prevent delays once construction actually begins this summer. So to support this process, the district engaged with ATI, an Intertech company, and they assisted Mr. Payton, our Director of Buildings and Grounds, with the bid preparation, contractor evaluation, and then also recommendations. So in this process, we received 8 competitive bids. All of them were found to be qualified asbestos abatement contractors. Everyone had acknowledged the required addenda, submitted bid bonds, and the bids ranged from approximately $112,000 to $286,000. So definitely a strong bid and very competitive bid environment. Once all the bids were reviewed, the lowest responsible bidder was CEC, and they had a base bid of $111,950,000. They also had the lowest unit pricing for any additional pipe installation that might be required. And so ATI did conduct the post-bid interview with CEC and reviewed their qualifications and experience and also their capacity to be able to complete this work within the summer 2026 timeline. And so everyone is confident that they are able to meet and perform the project according to the specifications and timeline. So importantly to note, the cost of this work is already included in the referendum budget. It will be funded through that process, so the approval of this contract does not increase the overall referendum cost. So tonight we are recommending that the board approve the asbestos abatement contract with CEC in the amount of $111,950,000.
So moved.
Well, I can't say it, I think, but
So this was completely blind bid, this is what they came in at, and then obviously they got re-vetted after the fact just to make sure they can deliver on the
Correct.
scope of the project.
yep.
Perfect.
Excuse my asbestos ignorance, but this doesn't need to be done again next summer, correct?
So that is actually a really great question. So this abatement is only pertaining to the work that's happening this summer. So yes, next summer we will have another, we will do another bid for abatement work that might be needed related to those construction projects.
It'll be in different areas.
Correct, yep. So it's like very
places.
focused on
Oh, okay.
the work's happening in this area, let's abate anything that we're potentially working on. And then, but yeah, that's a great question.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Surprised how big of a spread there was. Yeah.
I will entertain a motion for the Board of Education, that the Board of Education approve the asbestos abatement contract with CEC in the amount of $111,950 for summer 2026 work at Kaneland High School.
So moved.
Second.
And a roll call, please.
Dr. Lawler,
Aye.
Mr. Stalcup,
Aye.
Mr. Mankivsky,
Aye.
Mr. Kleisner,
Aye.
Ms. Simmons,
Aye.
Mr. Cook,
Aye.
Mr. McCauley.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. The asbestos abatement contract for summer 2026 is approved. The third item of new business is the approval of referendum project issuance of number one and number 2 bid packages. Dr. Bogan, if you could please provide more information.
I'm gonna call up Dave Torres with Nicholas and Associates as well, and he's gonna be here to answer any questions. But just to give an overview of the bid award recommendation for bid issuance 1 and 2 related to the referendum construction program. On February 11th, the district public opened bids for the first major construction packages associated with the referendum. The bids were received and reviewed in coordination with Nicholas and Associates, our construction manager. And following a detailed review of the bid tabulations, scope, alignment, Nicholas and Associates issued a formal letter of recommendation supporting the award of base bid packages to the apparent low responsible bidder. The bid tabulation sheet is found in your packet along with Nicholas's recommendation letters. Important to note, for bid issuance 1 and 2, the total recommendation, the total cost of the 8 bid packages is $20,216,067. And I do want to note, this is at under budget for those first 2 bid issuances. We're going to get additional information posted, but I think one of the things that it's a little bit different, and I do want to make note of, is that in the original scope of the referendum, we had all these projects listed. What projects were being done when has shifted just a little bit, and then there were also items that we had listed on our global budget that were listed essentially below the line, right? They were sort of those unknowns. Those items related to these projects are now above the line and included in this total cost. So when we look at the overall cost, this is right where it needs to be. So you do have a listing of the 8 different bid packages that included site work, and structural, masonry, general trades, framing, drywall, flooring, painting, fire protection, plumbing, HVAC, and then electrical. It also lists out the individual contractor and then also that base bid amount. Is there anything that you would like to add?
You did a great job. You know, we were very pleased with the turnout, very competitive bids. You know, this is a little bit later in the bidding season, especially for upcoming summer work. So, you know, again, given where we were at budget-wise and where the numbers came in at, we were right where we needed to be. So definitely looking forward to this next issuance, but ready to rock and roll on these first project issuance 1 and 2 phase.
What are the items for those that may not know that are in these 2 bid packages?
Like
Or
the
big picture items?
like the scope of work?
Yeah.
So we have, as part of like bid issuance 1, we have renovation work at the high school in areas A, a little bit in C. We're going to be doing some flooring work at Blackberry McDowell, a little bit of HVAC work as well. And then we have in project issuance 2, construction of the new transportation facility and maintenance building.
And these are scheduled to start this spring, summer.
So for bidding purposes, our schedule is set for us to start construction in the summer. Obviously, our work inside the high school will be completed over the summer, but then as it pertains to the maintenance building and transportation building, since those don't impact the day-to-day school activities, there is potentially an opportunity for us to start sooner, but it's going to be dependent on getting approval from the authorities having jurisdiction from a permitting standpoint. So once we have full approval on the permitting side of things, then we can talk about maybe accelerating that schedule. But for right now, we are planning to start in the summer.
Any other questions? We'll entertain a motion that the Board of Education approves the award of bid packages numbers 1 through 8 for project issuance 1 and 2 in the total amount of $20,216,067.
So moved.
Consistent with the February 12th, 2026 letter of recommendation from Nicholas and Associates.
Sorry, I thought you were done. So moved.
Second.
And a roll call, please.
Mr. Stalcup.
Aye.
Mr. Mankivsky.
Aye.
Mr. Kleisner.
Aye.
Ms. Simmons.
Aye.
Mr. Cook.
Aye.
Mr. McCauley.
Aye.
Dr. Lawler.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. The bid packages 1 through number 8 for project issuance 1 and 2 are approved in the amount of $20,216,067. The fourth item of new business is discussion of special education transportation 1-year contract extension.
Yep, it's me again.
Dr. Kogan showed it.
I know. I'm so
Kogan
sorry. I'm so sorry. I know we've spoken quite a bit about special ed transportation. You do have the full memo in front of you, but I do just want to go over some of the highlights. As you may recall, just prior to the start of the year, we did have some issues with our previous vendor with Safeway. They filed for bankruptcy, and 2 weeks before school, they were unable to fulfill our contract terms and all of our routes. At that time, we were able to quickly transition by quite a bit of work from the special ed team, Mary Schroll, especially Nicole Bacallis, Fran Eggleston, and Renee Carrilou and her team worked tirelessly to figure out routing. We were very lucky because First Student was able to step in and provide transportation for our special education students so that there was very minimal disruption for students with those specialized needs. Since that time, service has been stable and reliable. We are seeking to negotiate a 1-year contract extension with First Student for the 26-27 school year. Over the past several months, we have reviewed market conditions. We also did get some bid results from some neighboring districts to see what kind of they've been going. I did share that not only in this memo, but it was also in a weekly communication. We do believe that right now, seeking to negotiate a 1-year extension is in the best interest of the district, not only from a financial position, but really maintaining that consistency and reliability of service for our special education students. It definitely provides us with predictable budgeting for next year. And then also it gives us just additional time to evaluate long-term service options, whether that be continuing to monitor market conditions or also seek a lengthier extension with the current provider. So pending discussion tonight, this recommendation would return to the board for formal approval on the March 16th consent agenda for that meeting. But I'm happy to answer any questions.
What was the original yearly contract with Safeway? How much, I guess,
So I
what's
would
the
need to,
incremental cost?
I would need to get you that specific dollar amount because I don't have that in front of me. The original contract with Safeway, when we went out to bid, it was significantly lower than any other bidder at that time. And, unfortunately, I think that that's a way to get business. That's a way to increase market share. And, you know, us and many other districts were put in a really precarious situation at the beginning of the year because of that practice. And so I do want to say the contract we had with Safeway was a very low dollar amount. It was under what I would expect, as we saw from all of our other bidders. But I can get the board that information for what that, I can share all of those, that bid tabulation sheet from that cycle.
And there was no performance bond on the part of Safeway.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? There's no action necessary for the discussion of special education transportation, one-year contract extension. Fifth item of new business is the construction update. Dr. Rowling, if you could please provide more information.
Sure, so this is just a monthly update to the board. Obviously, we've had some discussion this evening surrounding construction with the board approving bids for both asbestos abatement and issuances 1 and 2. So that's a key milestone, and we're very excited about that. We have continued to work with Kane County on the storm drainage plans on the Kaneland High School campus. As you know, there's some drainage issues on the campus. And some historical issues. In addition to some concerns from some of our neighbors. So we are working with Kane County to ensure that the drainage plan is going to work for our campus. It's a low space, is what it is, right? So we're working with them. We've already submitted, and we are going back for another submittal and waiting for some comments. We have submitted adjusted plans to Sugar Grove. That went out Friday. Sugar Grove has raised some engineering expectations that were not necessarily expected. And so there are costs associated with these expectations. We are working through them. These relate specifically to water main service, drainage, and the parking lot. So we will continue to work with Sugar Grove to try to resolve those issues. And continue to plan projects related to issuance 3, including meeting with turf and fieldhouse flooring companies, a full day of synthetic flooring for a number of people involved in the project, and working with some of our additional user groups, including the special education department, our MTSS department, boosters, and the coaches. So those are all underway. In the coming weeks, we will be working on bid issuances for issuance 3, which largely is the field. The biggest things there are the field house and the outdoor athletic facilities. So that's, and the board saw some renderings of that at the last meeting in January, I believe. We've all seen the pictures, right? We will continue to work with Kane County and Sugar Grove to find agreement on the engineering. Really, we're trying to not have too many construction delays related to that. So we're working as quickly as we can. And then we are determining mobilization plans for upcoming construction, including groundbreaking ceremonies where appropriate. So get your hard hats and your fancy shovels, because we're going to break some ground. So those are the things that we are doing. Any questions related to any of this? It's exciting. It's very exciting.
And we're still on budget?
Dr. Bogan identified earlier, we're still on budget. We are watching it every day, which is why every time I mention a 20-foot night, I get a look.
Yep.
But you brought up
It's all
potential
expensive.
costs from Sugar Grove on some
Correct.
engineering stuff that's not normal.
Well, so our engineers,
Zoning.
our engineers felt that it's not necessarily the, Mr. Torres, would you like to explain? We'll let the guy that knows the thing better.
No, thank you.
I can just speak to the costs. I'll let you talk about the engineering, because I don't ever pretend to play engineer. But based on some of the preliminary feedback that we've gotten from engineering, from the village, we've gotten some expected level of cost for some of these changes or modifications. However, during the bid, we anticipated some level of changes that would be forthcoming from the village, so we carried appropriate contingencies that, as of right now, would, knock on whatever this is, PLAM, cover all of those costs. So it wouldn't necessarily be an above and beyond ask at this point. We should have enough contingencies to cover the changes that are being discussed at the moment. So it wouldn't be an impact to the numbers that
So
were
maybe
read
not
this
a
evening.
financial impact, could it be a timing impact? Is that the bigger?
At this point in time, I don't have any schedule concerns.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, if we can find resolution to where we don't have to eat into that contingency, it all comes back to you anyway. So that would be best case scenario, but you know, we have planned for what I would consider to be more of the worst case scenario, and all of that is included in what was just approved.
Thank you.
So the cost would be covered by the contingency, but,
Yep.
yeah, it's a lot of, it's engineering stuff that, again, our engineers felt was not necessarily typical, so we're gonna continue to work through that.
Some more fun shenanigans of Sugar Grove.
Potentially,
sounds
yes,
like.
so.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
that's,
See, they're the gift that keeps on giving,
Yeah.
apparently, so. I'll leave it at that.
any other questions? All right, great.
All right. There's no action required for the construction update. It is now time for Superintendent Board Report. Dr. Rowling, do you have anything to share this evening?
I have a few things. Congratulations to Sadie Kinsella and Angelina Coaches for qualifying for the IHSA Girls State Wrestling Tournament. Sadie is now a two-time state qualifier, and Angelina is taking her third trip to state to defend her 2 titles. So we look forward to that. They will leave Wednesday or Thursday for the competition over the weekend down in Bloomington. So we're very excited for them. This week is FFA week. Our FFA students at Kaneland High School kicked off the week with a pancake breakfast for the staff. They will be visiting some of our other schools this week and sponsoring Spirit Days throughout the week. Our chess team competed at the IHSA tournament, where the team wound up with 3 wins, 1 more than last year. Good for 15 spots higher in the overall rankings than last year. Chess does not have a class division, so we are competing against all schools, big and small. Senior Jack Nievenhoven managed 4 victories at Board 1. If you're not sure how it works, there's a roll-wing report that explains the general concept. Check it out on YouTube. But Jack Nievenhoven managed 4 victories at Board 1, which is a tough place to win. And then our freshman, Gio, I'm going to mispronounce it, I apologize, Menugis, stepped up to play Board 2 unexpectedly, and he earned 4.5 out of 7 possible points with 3 wins and 3 draws. So quite the showing for our freshmen at Board 2. And then finally, just an update for the board. I am working on developing the final plan and schedule for the strategic plan. So more information will be forthcoming and how we'll be going through that process this spring to develop the new strategic plan. Okay.
I'm expecting all the pretty binders again.
I'm not the printing. I'll talk to Julie Orfel about printing binders.
All right. Dr. Vogan,
Nothing this evening.
seems like you've already had plenty.
That's what I was like. I've shared enough today.
All right. Board members. Oh, I'm sorry, Sophia Schmidt, sorry. My bad.
I can see that time.
Right.
Good evening. The past 2 weeks has just been a transition period for Kaneland High School sports. The girls varsity basketball team lost to Geneva High School, always a tough one, in their first regional game on Monday, February 16th. With that loss, they ended their season and then had a record of 19-13 overall and 6-3 in conference. The boys varsity basketball team will start their regional play tomorrow at Burlington Central, facing either EMSA or Prairie Ridge. They play tonight at 6 p.m. and then they finish the regular season on Friday, being one of the only being one of the only 2 teams in Illinois to finish undefeated at 30-0, and they are ranked 10th in state right now. Today also marks the start of softball season for their 3 levels, while next week girls soccer, baseball, and lacrosse will host tryouts. Boys and girls track continues to host conditionings and practice inside and outside depending on the weather. And then both teams will compete in an indoor track meet on Saturday, February 28th. On Friday, February 20th, most Kaneland High School clubs like YAB, which is Youth Advisory Board, DECA, Key Club, bands, and choir also had their picture days hosted by VIP and assisted by yearbook staff. And then the student body will have no school on Friday due to a countywide institution day. I'm excited for that one. And the students and staff seem ready for spring and are transitioning well into the new sports season. So go Knights. Thank you.
Go Knights. Board members? All right, are there any topics for future agenda the board would like to discuss? All right, it is now time for the second round of public comment. And if there being none, we will move forward. The Board of Education is scheduled for a closed session to discuss Illinois Open Meetings Act, Section 2, Sub C, Sub 11, and Section 2, Sub C, Sub 1, where there will be no action taken following the session. Therefore, after the vote to go into closed session, the recording of tonight's meeting will be concluded. I will entertain a motion to go into closed session to discuss Section 2, Sub C, Sub 11, and Section 2, Sub C, Sub 1 at 8:01 p.m. And a roll call, please.
Mr. Mankowski.
Aye.
Mr. Kleisner.
Aye.
Ms. Simmons.
Aye.
Mr. Cook.
Aye.
Dr. Lawler.
Aye.
Mr. Stalkup.
Aye.
Mr. McCauley.
Aye.
Motion carries 7-0. The regular meeting